Alright, I realized I didn't get y'all an actual visual of the new 25R1 on my last welcome back video, so that's my bad. Here's what she looks like. I know the GoPro's kind of warped things, so just a little visual here. Sick looking bike. But, alright, I was able to catch a break in the weather this morning, and I wanted to go over my top 5 tips for someone who is new to street riding. This is not going to be about the interstate. This is going to be specifically about the streets, the city, okay? Very different things. I'm going to make another video on the interstate because I think it warrants its own video. And it's just a different thing you have to kind of look out for. So this is going to be my top 5, and we are going to start off with a little bit of a hot take. But something you've probably heard is that you need to be going faster than the flow of traffic. It's very bad advice to give a new guy on the street, okay? You should not be trying to go faster than the flow of traffic when you are riding around town. It's terrible, terrible advice. Go with the flow of traffic. Don't put yourself in a scenario where you're trying to bob and weave through cars to stay faster than the flow of traffic because that's what someone told you. It somewhat makes sense for the interstate, and I'll go over that, but at the same time, I just think it's really poor advice, especially to give new guys. So stay with the flow of traffic. Don't ball up. Don't try and hide in between cars. Don't try and sit in people's blind spots. And don't go too slow, okay? Don't be a true nuisance out there, but just go with the flow of traffic. Stick behind a car, keep a nice little gap behind you, and your whole life will become so much easier, right? So with these guys, right, I'll just get behind this little red truck right here, and we'll stay nice and comfy. I don't know what that was bouncing on the road, and we got a little scoot going by. Will he wave? The scoots never wave. And that's going to lead us into point number 2. What you need to be focusing on when you're riding in the city is forward. You need to be looking forward at all times, not backwards. You don't need to be looking down at your tack. You don't need to be looking in your mirrors. You're new. You need to be focusing on what you can control. You can't control what's going on behind you. The more focus you put forward and towards danger, the more time you have to react, the better and safer you're going to be on the street. Eyes forward, all times. And I know it is exceptionally hard when you're new because you just want to stare at your speedometer. You want to know what speed you're going. You want to stare at your tack. You want to stare at your mirrors. What's that guy behind me doing? You can't control what that guy behind you is doing, okay? That's just an unfortunate reality and risk of riding. You have no control over what that guy's doing. But you do have control on what's happening in front of you and how you're going to respond to it. That's what you need to focus on. Focus on forward. Don't stare down. I was really, really bad about this when I started. I was so paranoid about what was going on behind me that I would get cut off. Incidents would happen that I thought were the person in front of me's fault, when realistically it was my dumbass fault for just staring down and around and anywhere but forward at all times, right? My fault. So, eyes forward. Don't go faster than the flow of traffic. Stick with the flow of traffic. I'm going to stick a nice healthy speed with this little van in front of me. I guess I'll need to turn around because this sun is blinding. But, okay. Number 3. This is going to be this I think is one of the most important little parts here, and it's going to make your riding experience so much different. If you're constantly having issues with people cutting you off, people not seeing you, just visibility on the street, what you're most likely doing is that you are hiding. You are not moving within your lane. So advice number 3 is going to be, you have the entire lane, use the entire lane. And I'll show you once we get up and going again. And I'll turn around just so the sun's not glaring in the camera. Sorry about that. I don't know how the GoPros actually work. I don't feel like I've ever been just pointed it at the sun like this before. So we'll see. But alright. We have this whole lane, right? I can use this whole lane. You don't have to be as dramatic as this. but really focus on how much more visible you are when you take up the entirety of the lane. You're getting people, you're getting in people's mirrors, you're getting in people's faces. The car behind you will actually become a little uncomfortable with you doing this. They'll leave you more space. One of the biggest things I've noticed with just kind of pacing yourself back and forth like this is that the cars behind you will give you so much more space because they have no idea what you're about to do. You are making them uncomfortable. That's a good thing. You need to be, you know what you're doing. You're keeping your eyes forward on what you can control and react to. If you're making the guy uncomfortable behind you, who cares? At least he saw you, right? That's all that really matters. So just spend your time back and forth between your lanes. So we got this guy coming. He could have cut in front of me. We had plenty of time to react because we kept our eyes forward. As a second part, or as a little addition to all of this as well, with the eyes forward, with sticking with the flow of traffic, I don't have to worry about my speed. Where's this guy going? I don't know, but I have time to react, right? I have my eyes forward. I don't know what speed. I'm not looking at my speed. My GoPro actually blocks my speed with my new setup. Every single video I record, I will never be able to see my speed. It doesn't matter. I'm sticking with the flow of traffic, you know, relatively. I think that guy's just going slow. I can't see my speedo to tell you, but sticking with the flow of traffic, and I'm weaving back and forth, okay? I'm giving myself so much more visibility, and you'll notice, like, it really does make people uncomfortable. They try to get away from you when you do this. It creates this little bubble of people thinking, is he gonna turn? What's this guy doing? I found this to be one of the greatest things for keeping myself in, giving myself a nice little bubble, is just weaving back and forth between lanes. People hate it. It makes people so uncomfortable to be around. So, give that a go. Now, number 4, and this is the big one here. Treat yield signs as stop signs. When you're new, the most likely scenario for you dropping your bike is going to be, that's a car, isn't it? Damn. The most likely scenario for you is going to be dropping your bike when you come to a stop because you panicked and hit your front brake too hard. What you are doing, because no one, I'd tell you to go practice in a parking lot until your fingers fell off, but I know you're not going to do that. You're going to go straight to the street. So you need to treat every yield sign and yield scenario as a stop sign. If you are prepared to stop, your ability to stop is going to be 100 times better than what you're most likely doing and praying is going to happen every single time you roll up on a yield sign. And that's hoping that you can look, you're going forward, look, roll through it because you're scared to stop. If you go ahead and treat that yield sign as a stop sign, right? Pull up to the yield sign, don't look to the left. Who cares? I'm coming to a stop. Yield, stop, put foot down, then look, clear, back, go. That will save you so much heartache from when a little car comes around and you have to panic brake it on, right? That's just little piece of wisdom there. And for number 5, because all of these kind of tie in together, with my constant bobbing and weaving, you do not want your primary position to ever be directly behind a car, okay? You want to be staggered in some fashion. Okay, so a lot of the things that, this is something that when people are new, they think a little too hard about it, the lane position 1, 2, 3 deal. And it's not a bad mindset. However, you have the whole lane. You don't have to just be in lane position 1, 2, or 3. Be in all 3, right? In the span of 10 seconds, hit all 3. Who cares? Right? So if I'm going, let's say I'm riding it up the street, and at intersections, I'm always going to favor coming in towards the left so that I have more visibility of that turn lane. That also gives people in that turn lane more visibility of me. So if I favor left, they're more likely to see a bike, I'm more likely to see them. I'm going to give myself more time to react to whatever they may do, whatever happens to come up. If I'm on a two-way street, and let's say one lane, I'm going to favor towards the right, because on the right there is more likely someone to jut out behind a car. If I've got a big enough space and there's bends in the road, they may not see me, and it may be a busy day, they're impatient, whatever, and they jut out in front of it. And this is all something that you can kind of go see in real time if you're a big like MotoStars motorcycle wreck watcher enthusiast, is you'll notice that a lot of these wrecks are caused by people being on, just sitting dead in the middle of a lane, sitting too close to cars in front of them, and they're hit it. No one sees them, and then bam, car jumps in front of them. They don't see that guy in that turn lane right there. They're setting themselves up for failure, right? So if I'm just constantly going back and forth, doesn't have to be fast, doesn't have to be annoying, but I promise you this pisses off the guy behind you so much that he is going to leave you such a huge buffer that your whole riding experience will change like this. Everything that you're doing is to get home safely, right? It does not matter if you are making someone uncomfortable. It does not matter if you're being annoying. If you're not doing anything, like I'm going legal speed, I think. I'm going very comfortably, and I just go back and forth. Okay? I'm not going too fast. I'm not putting myself in a scenario. My eyes are forward. I know that my speed's probably good. I'm not saying, you know, look at your speedometer. I physically can't with this camera where it is. Be a little better than me, but you get my idea. I'm going with the flow of traffic. I don't have to worry about getting a speeding ticket, and I can just go back and forth and back and forth, right? And it gives everything. It gives me so much visibility. And I'll catch up to this car right here just to give you an idea of what I mean with the back and forth as well. Well, that doesn't help. Let me get behind this trailer here. So the other big benefit of the back and forth is going to be, right, if I'm sitting right here, I have so many blind spots behind that truck versus, actually let's follow him, use him as an example. If I'm going back and forth, I can see, okay, well, he just doesn't want me to be behind him. Fair enough. Fair enough, friend. We'll go catch up to this guy. Is he stopping? I don't know what's happening with that guy. Catch up to this guy. All right, so right, if I stick behind right here, my visibility is so bad. What am I doing? Am I that ugly? You're not getting away from me, buddy. Versus if I'm going back and forth, I can see how much visibility I have around the car when I'm going around them like this. I'm in third. How embarrassing. And what you shouldn't do, because I caught myself being in third, what the fuck is going on? Am I that annoying? I'm just getting hit with the pump fakes. What the fuck? What have I done? My feelings are hurt. And I'm now in a turn lane that the light's never going to turn because no one turns here and it's never going to trip. That's cool. That's really cool. Alright, so I definitely didn't run that red. So we're turned back around, but point being, try everything that I just said. See if you notice how much better your visibility is. See how much it may limit the amount of near misses you have, how uncomfortable you are with how close people are pulling up behind you at lights, right? When I go like this, when I pop in this guy's mirror, they have a good mirror set up so I can see their face this whole time. But when I have a good mirror set up, or when I'm popping in and out of someone's mirror, it startles them. They're going to take note of me. Okay? Just give that a go and see how that changes your potential riding and the way people treat you and just your comfort on the street. Getting on a bike would have been so much easier if everyone had just left me alone, right? All right, we had to edit it out because I started rambling. That's that be how it do. But just give that a go. See if it changes the way that people are reacting to you on the streets. See if it changes the way that see if it changes your comfort level, any significance. See if you're noticing a bigger bubble. Everything that I gave you should have just maximized the amount of comfort and ability you have to focus, right? I'm not looking at my speedometer. I'm looking forward. I know if a car is coming out of there. I know if a car is coming out of there. When I'm moving back and forth, granted the streets are slow, schools are out, but I have full visibility. Everyone and their mother's going to see this doofus just going back and forth on the street. See what happens. See how much it changes your riding. And see if it makes you feel safer rather than you hiding in this little hole right in the middle of the lane trying to go faster than everyone. and just you keep getting in these uncomfortable scenarios, or constantly looking down, then look up and then down and then up. Oh, what's going on behind me? Okay, hold on. What's going on that side? Okay, now what's my speed? Okay, I'm still going. What's going to the right? Eyes forward. Stay the speed. Don't go too fast. Stop at yield signs. Tell me, you're gonna kiss me on the mouth when you realize how much that stress that saves you, because you're probably consciously or unconsciously hitting these yield signs and trying to roll through them. And yeah, get back to me. I hope this helps someone.